In the next 2 verses, Jonah initiates what feels like a 12-step program called Prophets Anonymous. His life has become unmanageable and he is ready to surrender. However, his new community of pagan sailors are not quite ready to take the important step of acceptance yet. That will take a bit more intervention from the one true God in heaven. Welcome back, my friends. I am so excited about the next verses that we're going to take a look at. We're going to be looking at 2 verses in each episode. We're going to be first looking at the NIV and then the JPS. Jonah chapter 1, verse 12. Let's get right into it. What it says in Jonah chapter 1, verse 12 in the NIV is, "Pick me up and throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Now, when I see the first English words, "pick me up," that's based on one Hebrew word. Let's take a look at that word. It is the word sa'uni. Now, here's what's interesting about this. The Hebrew word behind the NIV, "pick me up," is jumping off the deck of the ship and begging me to pick it up and take a closer look. In both the NIV and JPS, they translate this exact form, which is a cal imperative masculine plural verb. Do not get overwhelmed, my friends. We make this simple. We make this easy in our Biblical Hebrew audio course. This cal imperative masculine plural verb that only appears one other time in the entire Hebrew Bible. Now, here's what I love about this. The JPS and the NIV translate this one word in its same exact grammatical form as we find in Jonah 1:12. Here's what they say. They both say in Job chapter 21, verse 3, when they see the word sa'uni, here's how they translate sa'uni: "Bear with me while I speak, and after I've spoken, mock on." That's Job 21:3. Now the question is this: what is Jonah telling them to do by using this rare grammatical form, sa'uni? The meaning of this word is to lift, carry, or take, from the root word nasa, like, NASA, that lifts, carries, takes rockets to space. Because our word is in the imperative, the first letter falls off and we are left with 3 letters, meaning y'all, lift, carry, take. And then the last 2 letters, nun and yud, are a suffix that means me. Jonah is saying to the men, y'all lift, carry, or take me. This is an example, you all, of what you'll learn to recognize in the level 2 of our Biblical Hebrew audio course. Again, this is something that I get pretty excited about because it's the little things that we might think are no big deal, so we're dealing with the grammatical form, but actually the grammatical form helps us understand the meaning of the word. So what he says in Jonah 1:12, "Pick me up and throw me into the sea." Now, some of you who have already taken the free first 7 episodes or the first 7 lessons may have been able to recognize something really interesting. What it says in Jonah 1 verse 4, "Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea." In verse 5, all the sailors were afraid and each cried out to his own God and they threw. So basically, we're looking at the same word in verse 4, to send, in verse 5, to throw. Jonah is saying, just like Yehovah and y'all pitch to strike, if you remember us talking about this, the word is to literally like throw a dart and to hit exactly where it is you're trying to throw. This word, just like Yehovah pitched a storm and the sailors pitched their cargo and what it could have maybe been those false gods or whatever baggage they had into the sea, he's telling them with the same Hebrew word to pitch him. First step, lift me up. Second step, to pitch. Now, Some commentators say that Jonah is declaring imminent suicide and cite passages like the following. Judges 16:30. Samson cried, "Let me die with the Philistines." And he pulled with all his might. The temple came crashing down on the Lord's and all the people in it. Those who were slain by him as he died outnumbered those who had been slain by him when he lived. Another verse that they will to bring is 1 Samuel 31:4. Saul said to his arms bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through, so the uncircumcised may not run me through and make sport of me." But his arms bearer in his great awe refused, whereupon Saul grasped the sword and fell upon it. There are many who believe that Jonah is on a suicide mission. But not so fast, my study partners. I don't think it's actually happening that way. Why does he need, if he's on a suicide mission, for the sailors to lift him up and pitch him? And if he's on a suicide mission, why doesn't he just jump overboard? This is where it gets interesting. I think we're dealing with Jonah the prophet since verse 8. Jonah the prophet says this in Jonah 1:12. NIV, "Pick me up, throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm." Now, actually, I believe this to be a prophetic statement from Jonah the prophet. If you do exactly what I'm saying, exactly the way I say it, then hear the word of Yehovah. Here's what you must do. It will become calm, verses, then the sea will be quiet from a pranyal. Jonah includes the sailors in the prophetic process. Now we've got one more phrase from Jonah the prophet in this verse. He says, "Pick me up, throw me into the sea, and it will become calm, for I know it is my fault." And he's using a rare word only used here in all of Jonah, Vesheli, and it's related to the rare word that was used earlier, Beshelmi. I mean, it's amazing. Jonah literally is using this very rare phrase, only time in the Hebrew Bible, the sailors used earlier, but this time he's focusing this rare word on himself. Now, I love this phrase. Jonah says in the NIV, "I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Jonah is no longer on the run. He is accepting that he is the problem and provides a solution, though a bit too radical, even for the pagan sailors. Here is where Jonah initiates what I'm calling the 12-step program called Prophets Anonymous. We have been working behind the scenes with the best producer you can imagine. Our producer has been working to make this as understandable as possible with the graphics and all of that, but we need you to participate with us. Like, comment, share, subscribe, push the bell icon, and let's keep studying in the Deep Dive Bible Study into the book of Jonah. Folks, I'm sorry for having to push this train. I'm sorry for having to push this boat, but I am so excited about this because when Jonah makes the statement that he makes in 1:12, he makes this statement, which is a statement that is what I call the overflow of the heart. Luke 6:45, the mouth speaks. Yeshua taught us that. It says that what happened is, he says, "I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Why do I call it Prophets Anonymous? Because he has admitted that life has become unmanageable and he is waving the white flag of surrender. Now, when we get to Jonah 1:13, we have another challenge. And the challenge is that the sailors have to determine whether or not they're going to get on board with his confession, his surrender, or whether they're going to fight it. Let's read what it says. Jonah 1:13. "Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to regain the shore, but they could not, for the sea was growing more and more stormy about them." Here's what it says in the NIV. "Instead, the men did their best." And I want to say at this point that I appreciate those words because it's almost like these men, as Jonah's gotten to a place of surrender and a place of acceptance, the community that he's in is saying, no, let's try our best. You know, it's almost like they could use a good Al-Anon meeting. I don't know if you know about Al-Anon. Those are the people that are connected with the people who struggle with alcoholism. Come to find out that the family members, the friends, those who are close to the alcoholic need their own 12-step process, their own process of surrendering. And one of the things I have heard that they say through that is that the people in the Al-Anon meeting have to come to a place where they will give over the person who's struggling into the hands of God. Now, here's what these men are doing in Hebrew. The word vayahteru means it is the word to dig. So the men are digging into the water with their oars. In other words, we now have a picture of these sailors, these guys on this boat. They're digging in deeper and deeper. They're trying their own with their own strength to get to what it seems that they can see the dry land. But here's something we didn't get to talk about. When Jonah says his confession, before his confession, when he says who he is, he says, I am a Hebrew, and it is Yehovah I fear, the God of heaven, who created the dry land and the sea. And here we've got this picture of these sailors saying, we're so close. If we can just get to the dry land. But here's the deal. They're dealing with the Almighty, the one who created the heavens and the earth and everything in between. And there is an agenda from heaven that is playing out on earth. And as much as they try, as much as they dig, as hard as they work, as much as they work together, they're in the midst of a situation where they're going to have to do the same thing Jonah did. They're going to have to surrender. It says this, but they could not, for the sea was growing more and more stormy upon them. When I look at Jonah 1:13 in the JPS, and then I look at Jonah 1:13 in the NIV says, instead the men did their best to row back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder before you. Now again, we've actually addressed this already. It's the words, two words that you've already learned. If you go back an episode or two, it was holek vessel air. In other words, it was growing, it was walking and storming. Here again, Jonah the author, is using these two words. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to go to the Lost in Translation section, the KJV, the Keith Johnson version. And again, I want to be sensitive, folks. I'm not saying that, honestly, that I'm obviously a translator like the NIV and the JPS folks. I'm not saying that it's the same, but I am saying that I'm looking at what they're looking at. And here's where we get to the place where we can have a level of trust that what we're looking at, and we understand the language, the history, the context. We're looking at the pronunciation, the explanation, the translation, and even the application. We're looking at the grammatical structure. We've got the lexicons. We've got the commentaries. We've got all of the information that they have. And as we understand that information, we can make some decisions. And that is what I am doing in the KJV. Here is the Keith Johnson version of Jonah chapter 1, 12, and 13. He said to them, who? Jonah, the prophet, lift me up and pitch me to the sea. In the same way, you understand that Yehovah pitched a storm and the sailors pitched their baggage. He's saying, lift me up and pitch me to the sea so that, it's Jonah's being a prophet here. He's saying that if you do that, the sea will quiet from upon y'all. For I know that it is because of me, the rare word, this great storm is upon y'all. But the men said, no, that's way too much for us. They dug down into the water to return to the dry land, but they were not able because the sea, which Yehovah created, was going and storming, holek vessel air, upon them. I absolutely love this. This is just a wonderful picture of, again, the creator of the universe who, by the way, Jonah said this, it is Yehovah I fear, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. This flies in the face of the pagans who say there's a God for the sea, there's a God for the land, there's a God for our boat, there's a God, they've got gods for everything, but the one true God is so amazing. He's the one who created it all. And now they're having an encounter with him. And by the way, my friends, you can have the same encounter. You can have the encounter with the God who created his word and gave it to us in this language. You can learn the language, you can understand it, and you can even begin to not only translate it, you can begin to explain it to others and even applicate it. May it be, as we continue in this wonderful, beautiful, and amazing process, the deep dive Bible study into the book of Jonah with your friend and study partner, Keith Johnson. Hey folks, I found this when I actually taped the promo for this series. It's a shark tooth. We are taking territory, and we're going to do that with your help. We need you to like. We need you to comment. We need you to share. Embed it on your website if you'd like. Let's keep sending this message around the world about the deep dive Bible study into the book of Jonah. I sure hope you all will be patient with me. I really want to make sure that it's clear that you understand the amazing offer that I'm giving you. The offer is for you to learn Biblical Hebrew. It's a way that you can learn it on your own time, in your own way. It's both audio, it's also written. I've got a couple special videos in there from way across the world. The process that I was in was absolutely amazing. So if you would just allow me to spend another card, folks, I am really trying to push the opportunity for you to learn for yourself. It isn't good enough that I say it. You need to understand it for yourself so that when you say it, you understand it. So would you do me a favor? Would you just take about a couple minutes here and watch this offer, which is an offer for you to have access to absolutely everything we have, the information, the inspiration, and the revelation, so you can make it for yourself.
Dear friend, at Biblical Foundations Academy International, we believe that God reveals His will and His way through His Word, and we want to help you understand it in an exciting way. We promise to continuously bring you what we consider to be lightning in a bottle through our video presentations, and you can now experience it for yourself in our Academy Premium Content Library. Imagine yourself sipping a cup of tea or coffee in the morning, tablet in hand, or maybe crunching into an apple during lunch with your smartphone propped up on your desk. Or perhaps settling into your favorite chair after a long day of work, laptop open, ready to dig deeper into the things of God. In our academy, you'll have 24/7 access to a digital library filled with resources that will bring biblical language, history, and context alive for you. These presentations will equip you to understand and apply God's instruction in your life, wherever and whenever you are available. We have produced over 50 engaging presentations, making for a year's worth of weekly viewing. You'll get immediate access to Time Will Tell Season 1, filmed by Keith Johnson in Rome and Israel. The Road to Reformation series, outlining 8 steps to biblical reformation. His Hallowed Name, remastered and including a special update on God's name. The Now is the Time series, including the popular Christmas special. The 18-hour Open Door Live Teaching Series with guest Nehemiah Gordon, the Right on Time Series, the Growing Biblical Brick Teaching Series, Premium Scripture Bites, bringing you ancient Hebrew Bible studies, one bite-sized portion at a time, and so much more to come. For as little as $9.99 a month or $99 a year, you'll get access to the entire BFA Premium Content Library. As an added bonus, you'll also have access to well over 100 other resources on the BFA International site, including dramatized readings, original songs, radio shows, and much more. When you join the Premium Content Library, you are helping us with the cost of producing even more inspirational content. In other words, your support will help us support you. And now, we've decided to throw the doors of the library wide open. For a full 7 days, we are offering you free membership. There's no need to wait any longer. You'll now be able to try it out for free and make sure you are completely satisfied before you pay anything. So start today. Upgrade your free membership now. Simply enter the Academy, then use the Premium Content Library dialog box on the right. If you are not already a free member, simply visit bfainternational.com and click Enter the Academy button to get started. So what are you waiting for? Enter the Premium Content Library today.
You gotta love that I found a way to still make it free for you. At least it's only for 7 days, it's still free. You get a chance to go in, get the information for yourself. You guys, I tell you something, I really say this sincerely. I hope that you will get behind the Premium Content Library, get behind the wall with us, and you can, as I mentioned earlier, this can be information for you, for yourself. Join us.
Visit bfainternational.com today and join our online academy for free. You'll get immediate access to start watching all of Keith Johnson's latest programs, including the Time Will Tell series, rediscovering God's clock from Israel and beyond. The Now is the Time miniseries, based in New York City and Washington, D.C. The Road to Reformation, a 10-step study for biblical reformation. The Open Door series, 18 hours of exciting teaching from a national speaking tour. His Hallowed Name, a series on God's name that was banned from TV. Also, hear directly from Keith Johnson through weekly personal blog updates. Why delay? Visit bfainternational.com right now. Then click the Enter the Academy button. Visit us today.
When I first decided to study the book of Jonah, I had a lot of negative voices telling me that Jonah's not the same level of a prophet of the other people. He's not an Isaiah. He's not a Jeremiah. But I have to tell you something. As a result of opening up my Hebrew Bible and really slowing down and taking what I call a closer look, I have a greater respect for Jonah. Because you know what Jonah's showing us? There is certainly that side of him that's a person, the struggles, the way that he wants to run. But there's also that side of Jonah that's saying, look, I fear Yehovah. I know he's the creator of heaven and earth. I know he's the one who made the sea and the dry land. And then he's telling these pagans, he's saying, hey, listen, you got to do something. You got to lift me up. Does anyone else get what I'm getting here? That Jonah doesn't just jump overboard. He tells them, you're going to be a part of this intervention. Lift me up. What's that message that he's sending? Lift me up to the creator of the universe and pitch me into the sea with purpose. Jonah is prophetically saying that when that happens, something will happen. How does Jonah know that? I mean, how is Jonah able to make that statement to these pagans who had all these different gods? Jonah's saying, look, forget all of that. You want to deal with the one true God? Here is how you can change the mess that I've gotten you into. Give me over to the creator of the universe. And some of you, I'm sure, have some Jonahs in your life where the best thing you can do is give them over to the God of heaven, the creator of the universe, the one who loves us so much, he'll mess with our lives to get us into our purpose. May it be that you become just like Jonah. Come to the place of surrender, come to the place of acceptance, and then tell those around you, give me over to Yehovah. He will take care of me and you at the same time.
Shalom, Torah fans. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. Tap the subscription button and the bell icon, and I promise to update weekly with in-depth biblical research. Be sure to download the new michaelrood.tv app for both mobile and home devices for even more commercial-free content.